Welcome to the Operatory podcast, the podcast about burying the dinosaurs in dentistry, moving past outdated technology and procedures to find a better way. We like to talk about providing care from the patient's perspective on the operatory, of course. It's a common theme of ours, and I am very excited today to have a very special guest with me, Corinne Jameson-Kuehl, who is the owner of Custom Dental Solutions, where we are not just going to be talking about the patient's perspective, but delivering care from your team's perspective. Thank you very much, Corinne, for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Laskin. I'm also excited to talk to you about updating our practices and things that we can be mindful of so we can provide the best patient care and team experience in our practices.
Yeah, hugely important. And I think, we talk about team members on the operatory podcast, but it's not really been as much of a focus as patients care. But during this time, which we're just about to reopen, when we were talking about it before we got on, how the time of this recording, offices are just opening up from the COVID-19 crisis. And I think people are always worried, or really worried right now, about what patients are going to think when they're coming to our offices. But I feel, and it sounds like you do too, that there's somebody who's really missed in this, and that's our team members. Our team members, I think, are very shaken by this, and making sure that they're confident in the care and how we deliver it is going to be key. It was key 3 months ago, but now it's even more key. What would you say about that?
Yes, I totally agree. I think that to have that key in patient experience, if our team members don't feel value or taken care of, then of course we're not able to provide the best care for our patients. So they definitely connect. There's definitely synergy between caring for our team members and having excellent expectations that are written out and understanding of communications moving forward, pre or post-COVID for that matter, to really help reassure our patients and reassure our team members that they're coming back to a safe place as well. But yes, to your point, if we're not taking care of our team and giving them accurate communications or information, they're not looking to come back and serve in the practice setting the way that they should be, or perhaps they're looking for a new job, which in return may upset patients too, for that matter. But yes, I think one of the biggest things that we can look at when it comes to employee relations, and dental HR is not the most common topic that many dental owners want to engage in. And so one of the things I see as I'm in practices is that we don't have expectations written out. When we hire people, we don't always give them a written job expectation or a written offer for employment. And, we don't have an office manual at times either that really lay out the groundwork for the culture of the practice, or what may happen should you find something as crazy as COVID where you're laid off, and how to navigate through those particulars. So looking at really shoring up our dental HR would be really advantageous during this time, and ensuring that everyone has a job description, job terms, and that your practice philosophy is outlined in that office manual is only going to make for a successful communication in your team.
Yeah, I think, like Richard Branson says, if you take care of your employees take care of your customers. And in dentistry, it's, obviously our team is crucial to the care that we deliver, and setting expectations. I think you're right, that in dentistry, HR is probably, it's swept under a rug somewhere. And it's like, oh man, we created an office manual 15 years ago, and we don't want a HR policy manual, and we don't want to revisit it. But now setting the expectations for jobs is vitally important, and also, keeping them simple. I don't know how you feel about that, but I'm a big fan of making it so that it's clear and concise, to the point that really a fourth grader could read it and understand it. Otherwise, it doesn't hold a lot of value. Do you agree?
Yes, for sure. And it needs to, that job description needs to cater that specific person too. Oftentimes we have like to use your analogy too, a 15-year-old office manual that maybe has a dental assistant job description in there that's not applicable to today. Maybe this person isn't pouring and trimming up models anymore because you've gone to digital dentistry. So, taking a time to review that and saying, oh, well, that's not even applicable. And the biggest thing too is when you're keeping these job descriptions simple and up to date, then there's no wiggle room for misunderstanding. So perhaps you may have an expectation that someone has a job description to, they're the ones that take care of all the instruments in the sterilization room, or this person should be the one ordering all the supplies. But if it's not written down and it's not, there's no accountability or any expectation, then you can't be angry that that person didn't do it. They simply didn't know that was a part of the job description, or maybe they weren't being held accountable. That was part of the job description. So this is a great time to evaluate those pieces to make sure that we're timely, we're up to date, and that their current information really meets the job description, especially if you're listening to this post-COVID. You may be bringing your team back slowly with different job requirements and different job expectations. The landscape of many dental practices is changing during this time as far as roles. Many offices are bringing on an environmental sterilization assistant, somebody who's kind of a rover, and that might be a very new job title to have in the practice. And the team needs to be educated on what this new role will be for that person and what the expectation would be in that person's role. So not only is it informing that particular employee of their job, but letting the team know, hey, things are different. Things are not like they were 3 months ago, 4 months ago. We're really shoring things up. We've added another team member, or maybe we've subtracted a different team member, and we have to disperse job duties to different people. This is how it's going to look moving forward.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. My office actually shares a parking lot with a McDonald's, and I'm always amazed at McDonald's because it's the average McDonald's is roughly about the same size as the average dental practice, and inside the dental practice you have people with at least hygienists who have like 4-year degrees, and dental assistants who have they've got very specialized education. These are wildly talented, intelligent people. And then you go into a McDonald's and it's very different workforce, right? And however, that McDonald's is running like a Swiss watch, and the dental practice is not. And I think the reason why is because they have those systems and policies in place. Everybody knows what they're supposed to be doing, and I've always marveled at that. I think it's they're selling things for hamburger. I haven't eaten McDonald's in a very long time, but even though it's in my parking lot, but 50-cent hamburgers for 99-cent hamburgers, right? That they're slinging.
It's probably more than that.
Is it? Okay. Well, I haven't been there in a while. Like I said, actually, the last time I ate was my last day in dental school. I went to McDonald's, and that was the last time I was, just by chance, because it.
Wow, that's amazing.
The movie Super Size Me, which is now quite a bit old.
Yes, I'm familiar. Good for you. That's a good habit. Well, I'm impressed.
Yeah, I'm sure I eat equally as horrible things. I just that I have to drive to too, right? But I'm amazed because, like you're saying, it's those policies, those simple things that we do they're simple, but they're vitally important. I think they're often missed. Giving people direction on what to do and how to do it. People want to be told what to do. I mean, not in their life, but at work, they want to know the expectations, because in general, people want they want to do a good job. And so giving people clarity in their role is vitally important. And I like the way you said it too.
It really empowers them too, Doctor. It really empowers them to be amazing in their role when they know that you feel confident in what you've essentially hired them to do. And, and they've also selected you as their employer. So they do want to please you, and they do want to do an amazing job. We have to give them that benefit of the doubt first. And then they're empowered to do an outstanding job. And that's really what the cool cycle of it all is being able to have that clear expectation. They can feel rewarded, just like our children enjoy structure. They may not admit it now, especially if you have teenagers like I do. But it's one of those things where it's like, no, children love structure, just like employees do too. We want to be told what the expectation is so we can thrive in it and we can be successful in it.
Yeah, I mean, children are just little humans, right? And so I think adults
Well,
just
maybe.
are just better at pretending, right? It's so often, like I was talking with somebody today, and I said how, like, right now we're still at shelter in place, so everybody's cooped up in the house, and like every once in a while, somebody's brain just goes a little wacky and is weird for an
Right.
hour, right? And
Exactly.
but that's true of parents too, right?
Yes,
I think it's easier to
for
blame
sure.
kids. Yeah, it's the same thing. Humans like structure.
Yes.
We want to have guard rails to work within. And so, what would you say to the dentist that's listening, going, boy, if I put down these guidelines, this clear distinction, are people going to look at me? Because I can hear the objection. It's like, well, then people are going to say that's not part of my job description.
Right.
What would you say to
Yeah.
that dentist that would have that question?
Yeah. Great question, because I do get that question all the time. So I say it starts with our core values in our business in the first place. So I want it to start with my owner. And at Custom Dental Solutions, we only work with private practice owners. So I'm speaking kind of in that context, as that's our experience and the people we serve. But I always ask my owners, I want to hear from you first. I want you to tell me what your core values are so we can hire people that emulate those core values. So let's say you write your core values down and it's team spirit and kindness and integrity, or whatever, whatever those 3 to 5 words that come up with your core value might be. And then we're going to find employees, obviously, that have those. And then number 2, what's the mission and vision of the practice? And again, if every team member, I should be able to stop them in the hallway and say, what's the mission and vision of the practice? They should be able to tell me. If they don't, we need to create a new one. So it really starts there first before we start putting job terms in place. And then let's say you're behind the game. Perhaps you didn't start off on that, and you're maybe, a few years into dentistry, and you're like, oh, Corey, shoot, I've screwed up. I haven't done this. You can still start again. And you just have a clear communication with the team. You sit down and you say, hey, you guys, when I started this practice, or I took over from Dr. So-and-so 10 years ago, I was just running like a chicken with my head cut off. I didn't put anything on paper. I just assumed you guys knew what you were doing. We've had some miscommunication through the years. I am here to set the record straight, to apologize for you for not addressing this until now. Moving forward, I'm going to put job descriptions in place. I've hired what I believe to be a kind team working environment here, group of people. And yes, we have some parameters that are now written down as your quote job description. That does not take away the team spirit that we're still hoping to move forward with. Let's say your job description is to do all the ordering. This person is in charge of it. You want to contribute to that person's success, you certainly may do so. But if that person is on vacation for the week and we've asked you to take over that particular skill, who's going to do that for us? So one of the key things at Custom Dental Solutions is involving the team with the solutioning. Mm-hmm. Because simple psychology is, am I going to come in as your consultant and turn your whole world upside down and make your practice amazing? Not unless your team's on board. So there's a couple ways of doing that. You can't beat them into submission, right? You can. I mean, it'd be kind of fun maybe. But no, if they're a part of the solution, they take ownership of different aspects, the teamwork just follows. And it's really cool to see that. And there's always going to be, I know the next question is, there's always somebody who just won't participate. Well, hold that person accountable, have the team hold them accountable if they won't participate or they can't get along or they can't do whatever. There's a progress plan moving forward. And should that person not be able to follow the guidelines or follow the terms or be a part of the group, perhaps it's no longer the place that they need to work. And I think, Dr. Laskin, we're going to see a lot of change as we come out of this COVID. I think unemployment, first of all, needed a little bit of a shakeup. We've been riding at 3.4% of unemployment. Now we have people that are leaving dentistry or people that don't feel valued and they're leaving that practice or whatever. I'm a little excited since I'm the key HR person for our clients for many of the time. I think I'm going to have a great pool of excellent people that are going to be looking for new jobs. Mm-hmm. And what they're looking for is they're looking for this kind of teamwork. They're looking for this kind of communication, this kind of expectation. Because I can tell you, most of the calls I'm getting over the last several weeks from people that are not owners are, Corey, how can we get our owner to communicate with us when we're reopening? How can we get our owner to communicate with us what's going on, what hours we're supposed to be working, how unemployment works. And
Yeah.
they're frustrated. And I don't blame them for being frustrated. I own my company. I wouldn't be a very good owner if I didn't have communication with my team. In fact, during this time, we've increased our communication to twice as much as we normally do in a week, because I need them to know that they're valued and they understand what our plan is, because it's ever changing. And whether it's COVID or not, there are times in our businesses and our dental practices that there are changing times. Perhaps you're dealing with an illness of yourself, or maybe you're going through a personal experience, maybe you're going through a divorce or a death. Things change all the time, and we don't grow unless there's change. But that's why the communication is so vital, to keep that continually rolling. And that is definitely done by first attracting people to your core values, and then having them be a part of the solution.
Completely agree. I think that's a great perspective, and I think, like you said, it's not just a COVID-19 thing. It's
Right.
always communication is the key to it all. I very much appreciate that. So, where can people go to find more about Custom Dental Solutions?
So we have a wonderful website, of course, if people want to find our general information on the internet. Of course, we're everywhere on social media. They can find us on www.customdentalsolutions.com. We also have an office email that kind of funnels requests to the right people on the team. So that can simply be found at office@customdentalsolutions.com. We're on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, everything else. And we love interacting. So find us on our social media networks and introduce yourself. And we'd love to serve you in any way we can.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much. And thanks for being on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been great.
Thanks again.